So, Cynthia,
Yes.
thanks so much for joining me today
Yeah.
to talk about the Chinese culture.
Yes.
I think it's so important in the work that we do as counselors and students, or as professionals meeting with students and their families,
Yes.
to really have a much better understanding of individual cultures
Yeah.
and some of the customs and the things that we need to be sensitive to as counselors, as professionals who are helping them to talk through some of the things that the issues that they may be having, or really anything that they may need help with.
Yes.
So we're here today to talk about the Chinese culture specifically, okay?
Okay. Sure.
And I really appreciate, again, you taking some time to meet with me.
Yeah, I'm glad to know.
So can we start by talking about the Chinese culture in general?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe can you tell me a little bit more about what some of the customs and some of the traditions inherent to the Chinese culture might be?
I think the holidays, the traditional holidays, actually, like Chinese New Year, Mid-Autumn Festival, Dragon Boat Festival. I think also the holidays in August. I think those holidays for Chinese people, they look it very important time to have a family reunion,
Okay.
wherever in cities or the countryside. Yeah, those family they very focus and focus on those holiday celebrations.
Okay,
It's a very important time for their whole family.
okay.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities like that, or are other times outside of the holiday structure when Chinese families commit themselves to being together?
I think just similar to the vacation in Europe. I think the Chinese New Year. Usually, Chinese people they could have 2 weeks of the break, yeah, for the Chinese New Year celebration and family reunion, and even longer because the schools in China, the schools all closed or shut down during that time. Even longer for the winter break. So their winter break is longer than we have in America. So I think about 4 months. All right, within the fourth within the January or February. So they could have the longer time to have a gathering with families
Okay.
during the winter break to celebrate Chinese New Year.
Okay.
So yeah, could be longer, than the whole month. So their winter break is longer than we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And traditionally, how long is Chinese New Year?
Chinese New Year usually it start 1 week before the Chinese New Year, and it's over after over I think over 2 weeks after. So basically, you will
3-week period.
3 weeks period. Okay. So actually, the last day of the celebration for Chinese New Year will be will be the 5th days of the first month of the year. So should be so they start at the Chinese Lunar New Year day. Then it's over on the we call that the Lantern Festival. So
Right.
actually, totally 15 days.
Okay.
But they have 1 week earlier to prepare for the Chinese New Year. So they're totally about 3 weeks,
3 weeks.
long. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So lantern lighting. I was going to ask you about this
Yes.
because in researching Chinese holidays for one of our students here,
Yes.
as part of a presentation that he needed to give, I came across the lantern lighting ceremony, which sounded really interesting to me.
Yes.
So this is what
It's
you're.
the last day of the celebration.
It's
for
the
Chinese
last
New
day of
Year.
Chinese New Year.
I think based on the traditional customs, that's the last day.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the family unit now.
Yes.
Okay. And some of the ways that families function within the Chinese culture. So specifically, I'm interested in knowing more about the relationship structure and the dynamic, let's say,
Yes.
between parents and their children, between
Yes.
siblings. What would be some of the things that I should be sensitive to in terms of gender roles,
Yes.
respect,
Mm-hmm.
how parents are revered, how elders, grandparents are revered.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think all those holidays, all the core, their core idea is the family,
Mm-hmm.
family centered. So I think that's very important. The piety is the filial piety. I think filial piety actually is deeply rooted in China's culture, traditional culture.
Okay.
So they the kids, they were educated how to respect their parents and even grandparents since they are very young, since kindergarten. So I think their idea, the families, their parents, grandparents, they put first priority.
Family first.
First, yes.
Before anything.
Anything. So
Okay.
since they were very, very young, since childhood, in kindergarten, so that's the filial piety that's deeply rooted in their education, their culture, their family. So you can see, especially I think before 2 years ago, they have the childbirth policy. The whole family only one kid in their family. So you can see they have 4 parents or grandparents, right, and the 2 parents, totally 6 adults fully support their only one
One baby.
grandchild.
Yeah.
So you can see that they put a lot, I think that's a very big impact
Mm-hmm.
on the whole family, the whole society, and even the whole country. And also, I think in China they actually that's I think the Asian China was patriarchal society, right? In Asian China, and but now there is change, but still, especially in the countryside areas, still they still that's a father centered. So but in the cities it has been changed now in the big cities because of women, more and more women they are working nowadays.
Okay.
So it's changing, but it's changing nowadays for the working area, working area. More women they get involved. They were working. They are working nowadays, and they actually because they have their family fully support. So not only son or daughter, their economic conditions getting better. Not like the Asian China, So now the women they would like to be more. They are more independent than before.
Okay.
And even you can see, I think in Japan they still keep these traditions more than China, but China nowadays is changing a lot. I think in the countryside, in the countryside of China, actually, I think more father centered, because father they still keep the father are breadwinners and mother, you need to stay at home to be a housewife.
Okay.
But in the cities, it's totally different. It's changing now. Yeah. And so that's why the men, actually the traditions, because of traditions of the men's role. So, and nowadays, especially in the city, nowadays the women, they have better economic the conditions.
Do you feel as though there's been any kind of theme, if you will, or any underlying recurring sense of any kind of oppression or racism among them? So have they come to you to discuss in confidence, oh, this is what I've just experienced, and these are things, I'm trying to get at these because these are the things that I might need to be sensitive to as a counselor working with these students specifically.
There were some students come to me, some Asian students came to me, and I think I heard quite often about, they complained about they think the school policies that's not very fair to, they think there are different policies for them.
Okay.
Yeah, from to the American students.
Okay.
Yeah, they I think they always, I think some of them they thought that's their status or the situation is different. I think that's that's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you think they feel that way?
I think actually on my personal view is some idea, some thought that they put from their parents.
Okay.
Because I found that I have to say American parents more reasonable, but Chinese parents, Asian parents, they will defend their children first. All right. And this will put some impact on their children. And whenever I think in China, also not only here in China, I think they always, the families are all armed together, and whatever they are right or wrong, they always armed together, and I think that's about the education, about the family education since they were little.
Well, thank you again,
Yes.
Cynthia. This has been great, very enlightening, very interesting, certainly. And if you think of anything else, that you think might add some substance to any of these things, as you reflect on some of the questions I've asked you,
Yes.
Certainly feel free to get back in touch with me, because I'm always interested in hearing more, most especially about the ways in which, or maybe some of the core issues that I as a counselor should be sensitive to
Yes.
when working with students.
Yes.